Welcome to another episode of In the Line of Wire. Today I'm speaking with Dr. DrArshadNUST. He is the Director General of NUST, and he's a man who's managed to do something that no other academic person in any of the universities has managed to do. He started a corporate advisory council, and I was at the last meeting where this interview also took place. He's managed to get together not only people from the IT sector, but also people from the telecom sector, and they come to these meetings that he holds every 6 months. And not only do they come to the meetings, they also actually work with the kids and the faculty at NUST on real life projects. So let's go and find out a little more about Dr. DrArshadNUST and what he's up to.
My childhood was spent in a village. I started my schooling from Urdu medium, to be honest. And initially I completed 3 classes in the village, and then my father moved to a city in Multan.
Right.
I completed my high school, and then after my FSC I got selected at UET.
Right.
Because my parents couldn't afford studying at UET, though it was very inexpensive even in those days. Then I joined Pakistan Air Force.
Okay.
So
now from Pakistan Air Force to being the DG at SEEKS, how did that happen?
that is again quite a long story, but to cut it short,
Yeah.
I did aeronautical engineering from there, and then I was posted at a couple of places. And in 1984 I went to US for a 3 weeks course, and that actually ignited my spirit as far as doing something different than what the normal kind of routine is. And my attitude towards work changed at that point in time.
Okay.
And then in 1987, Government of Pakistan offered scholarship under S&T scheme.
Right.
And I thought it would be a good opportunity. Actually, I had been very inquisitive about studying further. I remember in 1985, I appeared in an examination for Atomic Energy Commission. They had a nuclear engineering master's program.
Right.
And once my boss came to know, he made a lot of allegations that you did it without permission, it is illegal and all that. And he said now disciplinary action will be taken.
Oh.
So I said that I was doing it for a good cause.
Right.
And no matter, even if a disciplinary action takes place, I don't bother about it. And but then there was another gentleman who was my immediate senior, and he took up the responsibility, and he said to the CEO that it was me who granted permission, and
Right.
that's how I
Okay.
got released.
So you were saved.
So once the government offered this scholarship, I appeared for a program that is called laser and fiber optics,
Okay.
and I topped in Pakistan for the entrance test.
Very good.
And but after that, some of the people got permission from Air Force to go abroad, and I was one of those who couldn't get the permission.
Okay.
They said we have only limited number which we can allow.
Okay.
So after 1 year, then I went to the Ministry of Science and Technology. I still remember there was a gentleman, Masihuddin,
Okay.
and he actually talked to the chief, and he said, you have such bright people. If you don't allow them to go, it will be a national loss. So
Okay.
that is how the chief at that time agreed to send us. And then I did my PhD. After my return,
Where did you do your PhD?
I did my PhD from University of Pittsburgh in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And in early 90s, 91, 92, I worked in optical waveguides design and fabrication using 3-5 compounds, which was the state of the art at that point in time. Even in US, there were few universities engaged in that research.
Okay.
Once I came back, and anybody I would talk to, they would not appreciate or understand what all I am talking about. So I thought I made a mistake, and then as it happens, I started thinking how I can make my best use of the available resources. And obviously I was working in Air Force at that point in time. So then I started specializing or developing expertise in computing.
Okay.
And I started teaching programming in C. I already had good understanding as far as Fortran etc. is concerned because of my engineering background.
Right.
So, and then I taught operating system, and it was self-learning and then teaching.
Right. That's
So-
the best kind.
Then I got an opportunity in the Air Force where I was responsible for induction of electronics equipment in the Air Force. And there was some equipment coming from China that was chaff and flare dispensing system for decoying the missile. And they had supplied one system, and along with its complete production facility, which was about $6.7 million contract.
Wow.
And then they said, we have now come up with an automated system, although it is very expensive, but if you give us $3 million more, then we will give you the upgraded version, as far as they call it transfer of technology.
Right.
So then I started thinking what is so good about it. And then at College of Aeronautical Engineering, we opened up the systems which came for the trials. And then we saw there was nothing much except they put a microcontroller instead of a sequential circuit.
Right.
For the firing. Then we floated 13 projects, I still remember, in avionics department at College of Aeronautical Engineering.
Right.
And all those projects, there were certain, all those 13 were different modules of this system.
Right.
And the next semester, after 6 months again, we floated to refine those modules, and that is how we developed a prototype. And then once I showed to the senior management at the Air Force, and that this is what we have been able to build at College of Aeronautical Engineering, so we shall give them 1 lakh rupees just for R&D fund. And but as it happens, it wasn't much appreciated. But with a lot of convincing, I was able to arrange 1 lakh for avionics department. And then we started refining this. And then the system was handed over to AWC, Air Weapon Complex. And then they refined and produced the system. They carried out trial on live aircraft. And now this system, after that, this system was installed in Pakistan Army helicopters, Air Force aircraft and all that. So that gave me a lot of confidence that I can do something.
Okay.
And actually that was the motivation for me, where I thought that now I need to utilize my knowledge, because at that time I had reached to a senior level understanding where it would be more of a management task.
Right.
So in the Air Force, so I thought now I shall move to in the civil. So I got retired from there, and then I worked with Shahid Mir in systems research.
Okay.
That was a very unique experience, and there I helped in building. They called it Action Learning Centers,
Okay.
ALCOS,
Right.
and somehow or the other, I would say it was kind of a good luck that the ALCOS center we established at SR became quite popular.
Okay.
And but at that time there were some problems with systems research. So, and this was the only profit generating units.
Okay.
And so there were certain ideas which I wanted to implement, but somehow or the other I had some different point of view, and Shahid Mir had different point of view. So I said I better leave for something else. So I remember myself and Shahid Mir walking on a road in the place where the system research was. It was a top hill climb.
Right.
So Shahid Mir said, Arshad, what is it? What other place? I was planning to go to Hamdard University. He said, what is Hamdard giving you, which I am not, and I will make sure that you get it. So I said it is not a matter of money or anything. It is a matter of my perception, the things which I want to do. I feel I can do it better. So after quite a lot of 2-3 days deliberation, then he agreed and we parted. I joined Hamdard University in Faisalabad.
Oh,
My
okay.
family was in Lahore, in Islamabad. So every week I would commute. For 1 year I
Wow.
kept doing that.
Okay.
But somehow the quality of students at Hamdard wasn't that good. So
You were not excited by.
uh, actually,
Teaching.
I realized that if the students and the teacher quality is not good, then the people they try to drag you in non-productive things.
Right.
So, and that is what was happening. I would try to bring them towards research, towards teaching excellence, but they would just create unnecessary kind of politics. And once you get more into that, you will find there was nothing to be discussed about.
So that's what you've tried to create at Seeks.
And then I thought I shall go to a place where I can have better people to
Right.
work with.
Right.
And then I joined NUST. At that point in time, it was NUST Institute of Information Technology.
Correct.
So it was 28th of February. I discussed with the NUST management, and then they said we would like to have somebody looking after that. And it was established in a 3-bedroom house
Okay.
along Nala Lai.
Okay.
And in the evening, there was so much of smell that you could not sit in that particular area.
Right.
And anybody coming to me said that what went wrong that you joined this place?
Right.
It is not NUST. NUST is somewhere else. So I said, but I think that if I will build this institution, I will build according to my understanding, and then I'll be able to do the things which I like to do.
Right.
So, and after joining this, one of the principle which I adopted was that anybody who wanted to come with a happy feeling, I would let him come. Anybody who want to leave at any point, no matter how much I needed, I always helped that person to leave.
Yeah.
So that created, actually some of my colleagues were not subscribing to this particular idea. But in reality, that created lots of goodwill for me.
Right.
And people felt that it is very easy. Whenever we want to join, we could join. Whenever we want to leave, we could leave. And this thing actually kept people working with me.
Okay.
And one of the things which I made it a point that anything which I did not like, right starting from my career till that stage, I will not do that to anybody.
Right.
Like creating problem for anybody's professional growth, not allowing people to go on leave or the needs which they had and things like that. So that actually helped in creating an environment where people felt comfortable.
Right.
The other thing which I made it a principle that I will never allow anybody to discuss about any individual personality with me. So anybody coming, if they want to discuss about anybody, the other person shall also be present.
Okay.
About
So that
whom
it's
they
a
want.
fair hearing.
It's a fair hearing.
Right.
And in all fairness, nobody want to talk bad about on the face.
Right.
So that actually avoided creating an environment where somebody could talk to me and say that this person is doing this, and that is one of the reasons there is no politics in our institution. You will never find anybody talking at his back or her back.
Now tell us a little bit about the projects that you are doing right now at NUST.
Once I joined NUST in 2000, a delegation from CERN visited, which comprised Dr. Horani from National Center for Physics. And they visited NUST. So I had a meeting. And before that, couple of delegation had visited, but they would always talk and nothing would happen. So after about 4 or 5 months, then there was a call, and I sent one of my colleague that okay, go and have a meeting. So he came back and he said that it is typical kind of a meeting where people would say that we will do, but nothing happens afterward. So in the next meeting, people from CERN were coming again. So I went myself over there, and they said that they had already initiated some work in Pakistan, and because of some personal issues among the team, the work is not progressing.
Okay.
Can you help us do that? So I said I can make it a try. At that point in time, there was not even an undergraduate student at NEET, because at that point the institute was surviving on short courses and MCSC, even to an extent Microsoft Office courses were being taught.
Okay.
So then I had affiliation with one person who was working in Atomic Energy Commission and teaching part-time in System Research Alco Center.
Right.
So I engaged him, then I requested the Atomic Energy Commission people to let him work with me, and that is how I started this research initiative. And because there was no money to fund the people, so I would sometime take the people for a dinner or bring a cake to make the happy moment, and that is how I built up the initial team.
Okay.
And whenever I would talk to the industry, they would just look very blank on me, that what he is talking and why he is talking. So then I thought I will not discuss with the industry for a while, let me build up the credibility at the international level. So and I must appreciate the kind of support General Shujat, who was the rector at NUST, he gave me. He trusted me for all the work. And then from CERN I built up the connection, and there were people visiting from Caltech and Stanford. Then I discussed with them. Professor Harvey Newman was there. He is a very accomplished scientist, and he is the heading the CERN collaboration from US side, whole
Right.
country.
Right.
So I discussed with him. He said yes, we will work the way it happened. But once he went back, he won't even reply to my email. And then I told to my people that let's look at his research paper and try to see what all he is doing, and then develop a system. And we did that, and we developed the system which he was looking for. And I sent him the mail, this is what we have developed, can I have your comments? I didn't receive anything. Then by chance I was visiting CERN and he was there, and I told him that you had come to Pakistan, we discussed and you agreed. He said, but because there are so many connectivity issues and all that, it is not possible to work like in that manner. So then I said, but since the time you visited Pakistan, I had been working on getting the connectivity in Chaklala Scheme 3, and honestly it took me 2 years to get 384 bandwidth in Chaklala Scheme 3. 2 years. I talked to Dr. ITLOW Rahman, I talked to PTCL chairman, Bajwa was there, and I didn't leave anybody. But still it took 2 years. And the people from PTCL at that point in time, because it was more of a government organization, they would come and say, sir, tone to aa rahi hai, line to theek hai. And but you don't check the bandwidth by just a tone. There
Right.
had to be a bit rate counters and things like that. So then we worked with PTCL people in making sure that proper number of bits are available.
Right.
So once I was at CERN, I told him that I got the message from here, email, that the connectivity is up and available. So I told him it is up and available. He logged on from his laptop and we had video conference from there. And 384 was the minimum bandwidth required for the video conference. And that was the moment actually which turned the whole situation. And 1 year later, then I met the Stanford person in Brazil, and again we discussed, and he was also very kind, and then we started working together. So up till now, one day I was counting, about 17 people has visited Stanford through funding from NUST as well as from US side, and then about 21 have visited Caltech. With Caltech, we have developed some state-of-the-art systems. We were part of the team which demonstrated highest data transfer between Los Angeles and CERN, Geneva. It was 110 gigabit per second, point-to-point transfer. And we have also developed grid-enabled management system for scientific analysis of some of the software. And then we are also involved in CERN in various projects. Very recently, an article has also been published from CERN regarding our work.
Great. Now tell me, what kind of kids join your university, and what trends have you seen changing over the years since you started NUST? Since you got involved in NUST, not started.
Yeah. Actually, it is very interesting. Initially, there was an IT boom.
Right.
So we started the program Bachelor in Information Technology, and NUST brand had started picking up as far as the quality was concerned. So we had quite a lot of interest in people coming in. But since we were based in 3-bedroom house, they would come on the name of NUST, but once they would see the house, they would say, okay, this is not
where we want to study.
where we want to study. I will share with you, there was one brigadier. He came from Lahore, and he walked into my office. He said, Dr. Saab, I had, this is my son. I was very happy that he got admission in NUST, but after visiting this place, I am very disappointed because this is not what NUST standard is and what NUST standard shall be. So I said, yes, you are absolutely right. I agree with you, but these are just the starting times. We will have better facilities as the time comes. Would you like to listen to what all we are doing over here? So with just half-heartedly, he said, okay. And then I started sharing with him the concept, how learning shall take place, how important research is in as far as the university level education is. And after about half an hour, he said, Dr. Saab, this is the first time some professor is talking to me how important research is. I never heard. And while I was discussing with you, I have decided that this is the right place for my son to study.
Great, terrific. And now you even have a facility that reflects the kind of work you've been doing.
Absolutely. So as far as the quality of kids coming to the university, I would say that has been one of the biggest factor in what all I have been able to accomplish till now.
Right.
Because the kids have been who have been coming generally are minimum 70% is the last kid who go to our lowest merit program. So, and because the quality of the students is very good, once we take them through the process, then they are able to accomplish quite a lot, whether it is research or the industry. And now the stage is that although the graduating class is not very big, sometime it is 25, 26, sometime it is close to 40, but almost 30 to 40% they have the job at least 2-3 months before they graduate.
Okay, so the quality is that good.
Yeah, quality is very good.
And you're also producing entrepreneurs, and that is good to see. Technology entrepreneurs in Pakistan have been growing, and several of them have started coming out of NUST.
Uh, if you ask me honestly, I will not say we are starting entrepreneurs. It is the real entrepreneur would be once a person have a startup with a 10-20 million dollar company. Only then I will call it an entrepreneur. Before that, it is just testing of the ideas.
Okay.
So we have brilliant students who have been developing applications and who have been attracted by Twitter, by Facebook, and some of the iPhone applications also. You have also listened to some of the presentations. So, there are some kids who do online applications development and they are making around 30,000 rupees. So, in a way, it also creates problem for the industry, because once they graduate, then their expectations are accordingly more higher, because 30,000 kind of a money they were making while they are student.
Right.
So once they graduate, then they expect to at least double.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
No, we have no problem with that. That's good. You have this corporate advisory council, and for some reason, you are able to attract a lot of people from the corporate sector who come and attend this meeting every 6 months, and some of them actually contribute to the kind of programs you run. How do you do it?
Actually, once things start happening, people feel it is all that easy. But in reality, it is not. Everything takes time and effort in it.
Right.
The corporate advisory council idea, I started testing about three and a half years before. And one of the thing which I made part of the work I do, this is the principle I follow, that whenever I make a commitment, either I don't make it. If I make it, it is the only death which can stop fulfilling that commitment, otherwise I do it.
Great, terrific.
That is one thing. The second thing is, all my emails get responded, even if not the one day, it doesn't take more than 2 days.
Okay.
So these are the two principles actually which has helped me build trust with people, maybe abroad or within the country.
Okay.
So initially, once I started talking to the industry, so again I will say I was lucky to get some very nice people who were supportive of the idea.
Yeah.
But there were very few people. In the first advisory committee, only 4 people came. And 3 out of them were just the project managers.
Okay.
And after the meeting, there was hardly which was any tangible action plan which could be generated. But still, I created 2-3 actions on my end, and I did not give any responsibility to the industry, so that I will be able to make sure after 6 months I will say that this is what has been done. So initial times had been quite tough, and people would always send the person who is not working efficiently in the industry, they would send that kind of a project manager to it. And slowly and gradually, then I started telling to the people that if you want to send a project manager, please do it. Either a CEO or the CTO shall be coming to the meeting, so that
something can happen.
Something can happen.
Right.
And because I was taking action to all the points which were being discussed, so people started taking it more seriously. And actually, for each of the CSE meeting, I try to make sure that at least one company action gets completed, so that they have the feeling that whatsoever I had concern I had expressed, that has been addressed. So, and after 3 meetings, which is 1.5 years, because we hold it after every 6 months, then the industry there was a bubble burst, and people stopped coming to the programs, and then people said that we are starving for the people, you call us over here and nothing happens, and things like that. So I immediately increased the intake 4 times.
Wow.
I was taking 50 people, so I increased it to 200.
Wow.
And my idea was that even if 50 get dropped, 150 will still stay on, and that is 146 now, and they will be graduating next year. So that will be a very good resource available for the industry from next year onward. Right. And that is the outcome of just this corporate advisory council.
Right. That's why it was full house yesterday, this morning.
This morning, I myself was astonished. These were all CEOs, CTOs, yes, all senior most people, right, and the kind of enthusiasm they expressed and the kind of concerns they expressed about the negative image of Pakistan, which has been very wrongly projected as compared to the good things which are happening and can happen. Nobody talks about it. So that way the industry has been able to actually tangibly see that they are benefiting from this. That is why they got more and more attractive. And now there are projects which are being worked for Silicon Valley based companies, right over here. Right. We also have worked for Nokia Research Center in China. That was one of the students working over there, and then he introduced to a couple of people. We are currently pursuing another project with South Korea. Funding comes from Korea Research Foundation. We are working on IPv6 based local area personal network, which is a 6LoWPAN standard. Right. And we are working with the inventor of this standard.
Wow.
Which is a very unique opportunity.
Yes, it is. And especially for the kids who are working on the project.
For the kids who are working.
Terrific. And you're also working here with international organizations like IBM and Cisco and some of the local companies on projects. How do you do it all? Where do you find the time?
Actually, once you have the passion to do something, you will always find time. In my opinion, time is not a problem.
Okay.
At times, even I have extra time available, and I try to think what I can do. At times I feel bored because there is still time available. So for IBM, it is very interesting. IBM had been pursuing with some of the agencies to establish IBM Center in Pakistan, and there were proposals being floated for funding, etc. And one day I met Humayun Bashir and I discussed with him. He said there is a possibility we could bring in equipment, but the shipment from US to Pakistan has to be paid, for which we have asked certain government agencies to arrange funding, but it is more than 2 years we have been talking to the ministers and people like that. Nothing is happening. I said, how about if I arrange that shipment cost? He said, that is possible. Yes, that is possible. And then I talked to the director. I said, we are getting almost $1 million worth of equipment, and the shipping cost is close to 6 lakhs of rupees, so which is nothing. So and he immediately agreed. So that is how we got it.
Great.
And it is state-of-the-art facility. Now after that equipment was available, there is a company called Software Productivity Strategists, SPS, in Washington DC, USA. Now they are utilizing that facility. IBM itself is utilizing for their corporate training. They don't have to manage a facility as well as the HR to run that on occasional basis. Right. Now they have fully available to them, and we are using it for our students teaching also. So it is a win-win situation.
So that was Dr. Arshad Ali, interesting man, born in a village. So that was Dr. Arshad Ali, interesting man, born in a village after joining the Air Force, having achieved, and then at the end of the period after joining the Air Force, and then now maybe some of us can learn a few things for our IT industry. This is Jahara signing off from another episode of In the Line of Wire. This is Jahara signing off from another episode of In the Line of Wire.